Alright, it's Nin time again. I'm losing the die roll. And I'm up against the Is It Master. I actually picked to play this guy specifically because he was called the Is It Master, and I'm playing the best Is It card ever made. Nin the Paint Artist. Fortunately, I'm going second. I do like my draw, actually. I love draws just where I'm very, very protected against Soul Ring, simply by copying it and ramping faster. So I'm kind of, it's like one of those draws where you kind of want the guy to play a Soul Ring, given I've got Copy Artifact and Sculpting Steel in hand and kind of dicey mana. He says, I love Nin, good card. I say, you're the Is It Master after all. True, true, but I play Grixis, which is what his commander is. There it is. Sedris the Traitor King. So here I'm just hoping to draw land. I actually gave some thought to just strip mining him to buy some time, but given the way my hand is structured here, with Worn Power Stone and the Sculpting Steel and the Simulacrum, I'm really, really vulnerable if I don't draw land for a couple turns. So I'm willing to gamble that he's... Plus he could just play a Signet or something on turn 2 and I just copy that and I'd be off to the races. But it does not unfold that well. He casts Croesus Catacombs. He does not tap his land. So he could have gone tap for blue. Well, whatever. I don't know what was in his hand at the time. He discards Distress. I've still not drawn a land, so I am distressed. And I'm about to get a lot more distressed, actually, with this play. And I see it's a swamp, too, so I know he's got the island in his hand also. Ultimately, I think the strip mine play would have cost me this game. In fact, I'm nearly certain it would have, despite the way it unfolds. But you can't really know that. So, Cabal Interrogator comes down. Suddenly, it's looking really grim. And I don't draw a land. Now it's looking really grim. I just throw it Sculpting Steel. He says, so you are also a member of the tribe. I have no idea what that means, but whatever. So now he casts Shadow Mage Infiltrator. So I'm facing Interrogator and Infiltrator. And, yeah, I don't even have 2 blue. Really, really looking ugly here. So at this point, I'm consigning myself to effectively conceding the game if I don't draw another land, because there's no way I'm going to come back at that point. So come on deck. Island. We've got a shot. Sack. Volcanic. So even though he's going to start decimating my hand and drawing extra cards, at least I've got a prayer of clawing my way back here. He casts some Bloodline Keeper, which I am very, very happy to see over him using Interrogator on me, because I don't want to have to make those kind of choices. Draws a card. I draw Tezzeret. Sigh. Tezzeret's so good, but this is not the time when you want to get him. Ultimately, though, as good as, or as much as I like Tezzeret in the long game, I don't really have the luxury of hanging on to it, so I decide I'm going to just go and get some artifact mana. Use Tezzeret to soak up some damage, and that'll allow me to cast Simulacrum and copy it, or copy the Soul Ring or something next turn. He says, Worn Power Stone equals my cheapo version of Soul Ring. Too cheap to splurge for that. And then he goes, Ruh-roh, you know this dude is dead, right? And yeah, you know what, Is It Master? Pretty aware of how Planeswalkers work. But he gets his Soul Ring. It's just a 5-mana Soul Ring, basically. And he happens to have Grixis Charm, or Croesus Charm, to blow it up. So now I'm back to square one. And I'm getting sceptered. That was a gnarly turn. And I pitched the negate. And I hit another land, which is awesome. So now, put out Solemn Simulacrum. I thought about copying it, thinking the guy might be not realize that he could, that the Simulacrum can block the Infiltrator, and he'd send it in and I could double block. But I finally decided that I'd rather just get Nin on board here and hope he doesn't have any removal, because I really want to kill this off. I can't have a long-term game plan that involves Cabal Interrogator on the board. It's just way too disruptive. He casts Fiend of the Shadows. 3/3 flyer. Whenever he hits me with it and deals damage, he exiles a card from my hand. It's insane. So brutal. And it's a vampire too, and he's already got 3 in play. Yeah, And the flip would be just devastating too, because suddenly the life would really matter a lot. He sends that guy in. Sure enough, block. He goes, whoops. Don't worry about it, man. There's no reason not to attack anyway. Okay, so I have to think a long time here. Like, my prospects of winning this game are super low. I really want to use Nin to kill stuff. Nin's like now active. And I do have the option of simply just shooting Cabal Interrogator. But, you know, when I'm looking at it, I'm not really sure why I didn't do that. That's kind of stupid, actually. I think maybe I was just thinking about how I needed ultimately to use Nin on the Solemn Simulacrum. But I really should have just shot the Cabal Interrogator here. Not sure what the hell I was doing. This is like a matter of kind of overthinking what you want to do. So I go get Fire Ice, like thinking. I spent all this time thinking, obsessing over how my mana didn't work out. Like you can see how much time's off the clock, and how I wanted to be able to Fire Ice and also leave mana open to mana drain. But it doesn't actually work out because, well, it doesn't work out. That's what's up. That's the truth of the matter. I was 1 mana short, and I missed completely obvious play of just pinging the Interrogator with Nin the Pain Artist, and then I can feed him some extra cards. He casts something fat. I drain it, untap, shoot Solemn Simulacrum, and draw a million, and get right back in the game despite his giant Air Force. But I didn't do that. Pretty dumb. I think my plan was that like he would scepter my whole hand and I would Fire Ice in response, and I don't know. I was just being too clever. He casts Evil Twin here. And I'm thinking about what he could copy. Thinking maybe he would take Nin the Pain Artist actually. Go to work on his guys with it, which would be pretty awesome. But I do have the Fire Ice, so I could kill Cabal Interrogator. So it makes a guy. And then in response to this activation, because this is sorcery speed, I can Fire Ice now. Blow that guy up. But now we've got a lot of vampire damage coming. The Fiend of Souls eats a card. So this is it. Next turn he is coming over for 5, 10, 15, plus 8. It would be 23 damage and I'm at 23. And he's got enough mana to copy Artifact, and now he's got some Simulacrum too. Brutal. So, my fellow watchers, how do you win this game? How's it even possible? I mean, I guess there's the Quake. The problem is the Quake doesn't even work because this guy has regeneration. And if I Quake for 5, he just regenerates it and proceeds to beat my face in and steal my counter spells and kill me with them. So that's not going to work. Well, it starts with Into the Royal. We just say done. He plays this scrappy guy. I gave some thought to mana draining it just to carry over to the next turn, but I realized it made little sense. Hopefully he just casts something bigger. He transforms the other Bloodline Keeper, so now he's got 2 of them in play. So here's a completely lethal attack. 5, 10, 15, 23, 25, 26 damage. I'm at 23. So we block his Simulacrum, which is probably a bad play, given that I'm going to shoot my own guy. I probably should have just blocked the dude. And I bounce one of the 5/5s, which drops his board now down to 2 5/5s and 2 4/4s and a 1/1. So I'm going to take a lot of damage, but I'm going to survive. And here we go. Wing and a prayer. Nin fires it off for 4. And look at that. Right on top. Cyclonic Rift. God, the amount of times that this card has just completely pulled my feet out of the fire. 2 minute to count. But he gets to draw a card. I would have happily traded 1 life to prevent him from drawing a card there. That was just stupid too. Definitely a game where I made some pretty bad decisions, I think. And there's the land that I need absolutely, because I've got 8 in play. I need 9 to get this to work. So play the 9th one. And my hope here is that Izzet Master, seeing that, you know, he's going to get excited about the fact he's got all this lethal damage. He's going to cast something big like this guy, and I'll be able to mana drain it, and he won't be able to replay anything. That's my hope. Because if he just attacks, I have to cast Cyclonic Rift with Kicker, or with Overload, and then he has all this mana available, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he can replay like half his guys, and all I can do is mana drain the first one, and then maybe daze the second one if I get lucky. But I'm still way behind. That is not what happens, because look at this. Remember when I talked about a big spell to drain? How does Mind Shatter for 6 sound? Yeah, that sounds pretty yummy. I think we'll drain that. Gobble. So here they come. And there it is. Cyclonic Rift, his whole board. He can't replay anything. 8 in my pool. So I think about this turn for a while. He says, "You better not beat me." I said, "Haha, it would be pretty epic." He says, "I knew you had something terrible." I said, "Lots to consider anyway." So let's get Future Sight down here. Play land. Play Thran Dynamo. Sack. Hope to get something good. Do not get something good. I was really hoping to get Amnesia there. That was a little bit too greedy. So I'm just going to play my Chalice. And I've got enough mana to effectively hinder and remand and daze, which I feel is probably enough to cover most of this upcoming turn. And then once I get to untap, Nin should do the rest. So we cast Grixis Charm. And I figure, okay, I'll just draw 5 in response since you spent 4 mana for that. Boom. Island, Tarn. Not too good, actually. At least there's a counter spell there. Some more ramp. And then he taps out to play the Fiend. And I have Daze. Now it's looking really, really solid. 1 counter, 2, 3, 4 counters, and 1 on top. 5 cards in hand. Insane. He says, "Well, that sucked." So I factor Fiction off the top. I see this split. Think about this, but this is kind of a no-brainer. As nice as Reliquary Tower would be to have him play right now, I definitely don't need it. And this is more digging to get to Forbid, or Amnesia is what I really would like to get at this point, so I take the 3. Top of the deck is Vandal Blast. So Brainstorm, Mana Crypt. Yeah, that looks like a good plan, right? It says I just need a Lightning Bolt, and look what's right on top of my deck, Amnesia. So I give some thought to amnesiaing him here. I know he's got 5 spells in his hand, almost certainly, but that would leave me relatively defenseless, and I figure I can just remand what he does next turn and counter one of the things, and then amnesia later. And I decided I like that Snapcaster Mage, so I'm not going to play my Trinket Mage. Just throw away some junk, some lands, some copy artifacts, that Thirst for Knowledge, which I don't need, and ultimately the Flametongue Kavu too, because I don't plan on him putting anything else into play here. Cast John Finkel. I'm just going to rewind that. Pop the Doppelganger back into his hand. He says go. Packs of Negation on top. Amnesia. Blah. Murder. Bunch of crap, actually. Hellfire. Nin comes down. So he casts that guy, and I just use an opportunity to take the card off the top of my deck to stop it. And I've got a Condescend there, and he happily runs his Sedris into that. Can't really speak to the intelligence of that play, but I think at this point he's probably given up anyway. It's got to be demoralizing to have your opponent at, 2 or 3 life, and you've got 25 power and attackers in play, and you've just twisted him for 6, and somehow you lose that game. Tidings. It says, "You are making it more difficult than it needs to be." I said, "Still so close to being dead here." Yeah, like literally, sudden shock. I don't know what he plays with, but Urza's Rage. There's plenty of things he could draw that would kill me here. Or that Banefire. So we're just making sure that I don't overstep, that I've got plenty of things to control whatever he might play on the turn. He casts the Ruined Sage, which is just more stuff to counter. There's Karn. So now we're just going to start strip mining, kill off all his red sources, and make it so that even the random red play won't work. So I'm a little concerned about getting decked here. That's the last thing that really could result in me losing the game. Of course, I do have the Karn reset plan. I could just steadily remove a bunch of my land and artifacts from the game and a future sight or something, and then reset with Karn, which would definitely win the game. Because my way of killing him really at this point is just Jace, because Tezzeret's gone. But it's just academic mop-up now. I have top plus future sight out. He's got no red mana, he says, but I gotta go soon, which is a shame. And when I talk to him about the game, I say, wow, that was an insane comeback. That riff was so clutch. And that's it. On turn 16, facing certain death, my opponent packs it in after being one attack step away from crushing me 40-0. Pretty incredible comeback. Certainly one of the best comebacks I've had. One of the most improbable. It was definitely contingent on my opponent making mistakes, and several of them, but that's how it usually is when you're that far behind. Hope you enjoyed it. Very exciting game and more to come. See you later.